Well, you wanted them back. Sometimes you have to be careful what you wish for. Roma, they begin the season in expected fashion, probably. I would say most of us, as far as the first games of the season go, this followed fairly typical fashion. Before we get into that, of course, all of our patrons, thank you for making that group chat. The band is back together. The matches are on. People are having strokes. They are having brain aneurysms in real time. If you would like to join, patreon.com/RomaPress, get early access to episodes or other things as well. Access to some updates, news-related updates that I come out with. One of the tiers, you can get this wonderful mug from last year. I'm doing an updated version shortly that everyone in that tier will be sent shortly in the next few weeks. Patreon.com/RomaPress. And then at IS Roma Press on social media, on YouTube. Like, subscribe down below. We would greatly appreciate it because it at least allows us to get through evenings like tonight with a modicum of sanity still remaining. Andy, what am I going to do? Come on here and throw a fit, pull my hair out. It's Roma. It's the first match of the season. I've come to expect this, frankly. It's Nicola, so you know you're going to be treated to an opponent well trained in shithousery. You have a place where the famous meme of Eusebio Di Francesco was born. So that right there should tell you what it means to play in Sardegna, which you don't have to be a world traveler exactly to know what the weather was probably like tonight. It's humid. It's hot. It followed every aspect of tonight was what I expected, and again,
Right.
that's not even mentioning this large storyline of Paulo Dybala
That's
lingering
what
in
I
the
was
air.
about to say. I was about to say, John, add to that the fact that you have this
Yes,
great mystery that, by according to De Rossi from yesterday's presser, is supposed to be revealed after the match. So I'm
yes,
sitting here, we're recording this right after the game, like minutes after the match ended. People that will listen to this episode will probably listen to it tomorrow. So perhaps by the time you listen to it, you know everything. We don't know
yes.
anything. I'm sitting here, I don't know what we should expect from this Paulo Dybala thing. Will Paulo Dybala come out in front of the cameras and say, like LeBron James, his big decision moment? Will
Oh
Stephen A.
gosh,
Smith react to that? Will Skip Bayless chip in? I don't know. This is what we're dealing with. We're not only dealing with a rather predictable result on opening day. Some things worked, others didn't. Some pleasant surprises, and then some not so pleasant. I wouldn't even call them surprises, more like things that we've come to acknowledge as part of what Roma means and what they do and what they've been
mildly
for
interesting.
years and years. Yes, exactly. So, in addition to that, we also have this thing with Paulo Dybala like a hot potato burning our lap.
Okay, now I just have to say, Roma, they just messaged to me literally as you were speaking right there. Okay, they said, "When we will know when you will know." I have a difficult time believing that. Um, you mentioned LeBron when he went from Cleveland to Miami. Like I have a very
Yeah,
much
tell
like
me,
when he
tell me,
said,
tell me, tell me,
when I
John. What
woke
are
up
the
this morning.
recollections?
Yeah, well, first off, under the guise of doing it for some charity fund, fundraiser, doing it at some like adoption agency or something, and then saying, this morning I woke up and I came to a decision. This is what Roma are telling to me. I have a very difficult time believing that. I like friend Filippo Bianfora. I think he tweeted out his feelings on the situation. Might have very much the same. I think he's going to go, unfortunately, for the reasons we covered in the previous episode. But I suppose there is some cognitive dissonance in the fact that I just had an alert from some of the data from this match pop up. The most chances created in this game were made by Paulo Dybala with 3. Okay. I, I mean, if you want me to subject me to that match, I guess you might as well just kick me in the other testicle as well at this point. Sure. The thing that I don't like doing after first matches are obviously the overreactions. I mean, some of the I love our patrons. The sweeping judgments that for some reason many feel obligated to make after. I mean, after at halftime, I see
Watch
people.
out,
We have
man.
to sell this
Watch
guy. We
out.
have to sell that guy. That guy
Watch
needs to be
out.
benched. Listen, it's one match. I,
But you see, but
no, we
John,
can't do that.
the counterpoint to that is a lot of people feel, I think, and especially with this Paulo Dybala news, that's why it's so integral to this whole discussion, to this whole game, is this whole Paulo Dybala situation looming over you. It's because a lot of people feel that with Paulo Dybala gone, Roma will be going back to being this. I mean, they will not be going back to being there. They will continue being the same old Roma, as in a Roma that only aspires to a certain level of quality, right? So I just gave the chat a brief glimpse right at full time, and the usual suspects are getting targeted. So Pellegrini, Tammy Abraham, Cristante. So the players that everybody knows
Cristante
more or
was
less.
fantastic. I don't know how anybody can
I've
take issue with
seen, I've
Cristante from
seen,
tonight.
I've seen people take issue with it. Someone
Oh,
said, "Well, Cristante in generally sucks, so today is no exception." That's okay. Great. What I'm saying is, I think people right now, and especially this Dybala situation, is emphasizing the fact that we we seem to be trapped in some kind of cycle, whereas in the opening match it's always, you gotta put some distance between yourself and the opening match, because very few times do you get it right. Not many teams do. This past weekend has been quite bad and quite shocking for a lot of the top teams in Italy. If you think about the way Inter conceded to Genoa, Milan, doing a perfect Paulo Fonseca
I was about to say
show.
the band back together. Paulo Fonseca, he's playing all the hits
The,
tonight.
the man is back in town, yes, sir.
Yes.
And then you got Antonio Conte. Also, the man is back in town, because you get absolutely dominated in the second half by Hellas Verona. Your team gets demolished after you've made a spectacular presser where you basically said we're shit and we know it.
Yeah.
So you have to keep your expectations in check. Obviously, tonight we, and as I said, Roma obviously played below their expectations, and yet they still played in line with the expectations, I think, for an opening match. You had some pleasant surprises. Matthias Sule and Enzo Lefe in particular were
Yes.
convincing in their first official match, so that was great to see. Some other performances, not much so. Dovbik, a bit uncertain. Abraham, not good. There is a lot of, I mean, as we've said many times, the problem with the transfer window being open is that you are forced to start a season and still see the players that will probably no longer be here in about 2 weeks still play considerable minutes. That's why these opening weeks are always so weird and difficult to decipher. Even for a team like Napoli, who were supposed to be in rebuild, and yet they find themselves playing with the same squad from a year ago. So, and how, and the direction is we want to
Juan Jesus, man.
change.
You want to talk about the cat having 9 lives?
Absolutely, Juan Jesus, whose contract was renewed last year. But the point is that this is the time to figure things out. Okay, I'm not saying I'm not happy with not winning against Cagliari, a team that I expect to struggle mightily this season. Questionable in talent. Nicola, I think he's a good interim manager. He doesn't have what it takes to be a manager for an entire season. So we'll see about that. But Roma, all in all, I mean, you go out there, you got this Dybala situation looming over you. The best you can hope to do is to see some of the things you may have worked on in preseason. I think we saw some of those things implemented in the match. I like the fact that with Paredes' suspension, Enzo Lefe was given a chance to keep those starting minutes, which he got a hold of during preseason. He's one of the few players that played all of the friendlies and started in all of them. This was a pleasant surprise to see him get that starting spot and be able to to put himself on display, because that's something you always worry. You will worry eventually with the likes of Ken, for example. Can Samuel Dahl integrate Dovbik? Very important to get him involved. Um, but aside from that, what can I sit here and say that Roma failed or succeeded in doing tonight? It's opening match day. My expectations after last year's 2-2 with Salernitana, where Kandreva scores banger after banger, after that I'm done. I don't need anything else.
Yeah, I don't think the expectations of tonight were too lofty for really anybody. Again, drawing grand conclusions from the very first match, I would say most would agree is fairly nonsensical. We're doing so, or when there's a need to do so, it is out of pure emotion. Really, there is no balance behind this. Some of the things we were thinking in this moment. I mean, listen, it got to the point where we saw Shomurodov warming up. I mean, no, 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 not going to happen. Some of the other conclusions, if we even want to call them that, the left side is or will be a problem. I think. Your favorite man Zalewski. I need a GIF of this pass that he made. I know you know which one I am speaking of in the first half, where I don't even know where the ball was. What even in his head, where his head thought one thing and his motor skills, the output was far different. I don't know what he was looking at, but the the ball went about 25 yards out of bounds to nobody, not even close to connecting to anyone. And it was mildly humorous to watch, because we think to ourselves, wow, here is a guy that we all thought would be gone by now. Yeah. I mean, if you would have thought first match of the season, put your money on who begins from minute one on the left wing. I have a very difficult time. Most would be saying Zalewski. I thought for sure it would be El Shaarawy. And Pellegrini struggled. Very frustrating to watch him. But what are we going to come on here and say? How can we draw any sort of conclusion after that? As you said, I mean, we look at the guys coming off the bench. Half of the guys coming off the bench for the last 2 weeks have had suitcase and luggage in hand to leave. To leave. And these are the
That's the problem, right? I mean, Shomurodov was in talks to join Atlanta United like a few days ago. The market and the MLS closed. The guy is gone. The guy knows that he's done. He's not part of the squad. He's not part of the project. He will never be here again. Hopefully this will be the last time we see him on the sidelines. Zaleski, a guy who's been linked to basically nothing. I mean, he's been spoken of only with Torino in mind as a potential piece in a swap deal for Raul Villanova. Aside from that, nothing. And yet everybody knows that this is a guy who has to leave Roma now. Otherwise, they lose him for free, because the club doesn't want to continue with him and his contract expires next year. Same thing for Pellegrini, a guy who played the Euro, played all the minutes that he could get at the Euro, came back, wasn't really convincing in preseason. What are you going to get from him at this stage? Always these late. This is the thing. This is why someone has to work on the schedule in general for football with the transfers and everything. It's annoying as hell, because you see really guys that will not be part of. Hey, If Dybala leaves, okay, but let him leave. Like, let us start the season with that weight off of our shoulders. Why do we have to go into this thing with the fact that Paulo Dybala, arguably our best player, is gonna fly off into the sunset tomorrow? You know, by what I can deduce, something may as well happen in the coming hours. So, how does a teammate of his feel? How can he respond to that on the pitch? How does Daniele De Rossi work with that uh, ahead of the match?
Right. It's beyond frustrating. I am on the record on my thoughts of it. I think it is stupid. You lose essentially the first 2 to 3 match days with a non-complete squad, regardless if it is outgoing or incoming. It has an impact one way or another, whether you want to think that or not. Oh, we're missing that position, but the outgoing portion of it too is also the mentality portion of a guy knowing I'm starting, I'm leaving, I'm going to that country, I'm going to live here for the next year. I have to move my family, my children, all of the things that go into it. I know we have sort of become immune to it from the sense of because of PlayStation, Football Manager, so on and so forth. It just seems like a very transactional thing. The human portion of it, the mental aspect of it, the character, everything that goes into it, it has such a big impact on an individual player. And to have it linger like this for what? Today is the 18th of August. We have to do this for almost 2 more weeks. It's absurdity. It is absurdity of the highest order.
And mind you,
And
John, do you know when the next international break is in? How long? 18
oh,
days,
good.
not even three
Yeah,
weeks,
okay.
John. Do you
That
understand?
makes
So,
sense.
so transfer deadline and then international. Like,
Yes.
what? You know, like that's to me. So I'm just okay. Let's forget about it. Let's get this show rolling. But I'm just saying, to me, it's these games have such a weird feeling to them, especially when you're playing in Sardinia. You know, you have Gianluca Lapadula. I mean, come on, for
Yeah.
God's sakes, how long will I have to watch him? I watched him get slapped by Daniele De Rossi. Now Daniele De Rossi is coaching Roma. You know what I mean?
Right.
Someone get rid of him. I don't want to see him again.
I literally thought that exact thing. I mean, that slap when he slapped him right in the face when he was
and
at
then pretended
Genoa.
and then pretended to get fouled and rolled on the
Yeah,
floor.
right, right. He does the
I
it
remember
was
recording with you right after and like having basically a rant against Daniele De Rossi and his horrible leadership in that game because he really cost us that game. He got a red card, I think.
he did get a red card, and it was one of those actions or one of those slaps where I always think of the one of Federico Fazio when he was playing Sevilla for with Diego Costa, where he punches him. Yeah, um, I don't. I only think that got caught after the match, or I could be wrong. Maybe it got caught during it, but that was the most blatant and obvious slap to the face, and some of the worst acting afterwards. I mean, there are adult films
Yeah,
with
with
better
better
acting.
acting than De Rossi's, of course. Yes.
It was horrible, but tonight, as annoyed as I am, whether or not this is some sort of loser mentality, I don't know, but it is not as if the rest of Serie A set the world aflame this weekend. As you mentioned, Inter, I don't know what that was. From a Genoa side that has lost both of its top scorers from the previous season, you've you have this Inter side who has the exact same starting 11 for the most part. In fact, I do think that it was exactly for the most 11 for 11, the exact same starting 11 that they preferred to use last season. You have a Milan playing a Torino side where I thought Duvan Zapata only scored against Roma. Apparently not. And it is a Torino side that is no longer managed by Ivan Juric. It is a Milan side where, for some reason, it was if Paulo Fonseca, some of those seasons at Roma did not exist. For as much excitement as he provided us at times, the level of frustration with his football is exactly what we saw tonight, this weekend, where they have 2 goals in the final 2 to 3 minutes for them to mount a comeback at home. So it does make me feel better. And then watching, I mean, come on, watching Napoli get pumped like that to Verona, it felt good. But it's the first round. What are we going to do? Are we going to go crazy? Are we going to pull our hair out? Are we going to go mad? And here's the other thing too. And I can't stand when people, yeah, obviously the sweeping judgments after one match day are very frustrating. But on top of that too, to have the first match day, even the first 2 to 3 match days, somehow impact how you believe Roma or any team should navigate these final weeks of the transfer market, it to me is mind-blowing and is antithetical to just about everything sensible. You can't overreact from tonight. You just can't do it. As much as I want to, Paredes, he comes back next week. Oh, who's going to be the odd man out? I don't know. Pellegrini, there's like 72 games every single season. It's not a big deal. Trust me. Can we worry about the left back first? Can we worry about the left side? Can we have a left flank? Can I have a left winger that is able to do something? So coming on here, panicking, throwing, whinging about this player, that player, it completely misses the point. That said, I mean, is there anything to you that was a worry in June that simply based off tonight you think could be a worry moving forward? Because for me, it is the left flank. It's that entire left side. Angelino, Pellegrini, Zalewski. It's like the triad of torture almost. I think that could be a problem moving forward, but I'm certainly not going to panic after one round. I'm not, I thought Zalewski was crap, 1 year ago. If he had scored a goal tonight, he magically does not become not crap. What are we going to do?
Absolutely. That's the thing is that you can't we can't get hung up on these episodes right now, as in there are some lingering issues. What I'm worried about is for sure this Paulo Dybala situation is worrying, in the sense that I'm not part of the crowd that thinks God, he's the best, and so he is the best, but there is no life after him, like that kind of mentality of, oh, he's gone, fuck it, scrub the season, delete everything, throw out everybody else, get rid of De Rossi, nobody knows what they're doing, forget about them. That's not how it goes. Everybody moves on. There is always life after death. In this case, Paulo Dybala's departure from the club would be what a lot of fans would interpret as death of the quality footballer at Roma, because arguably a lot of fans think that he's the only one who can play up to that level that puts him as one of the best footballers in the world. Yeah, sure, I give you that. Not many people can come in, replace him, and do a good job of it, especially players that Roma could get. I mean, that's, you're aiming perhaps a bit outside of your lane. But to me, the thing is that I want to see that situation handled in a way that is functional to the team. That is something that worries me, in the sense I wouldn't want Roma to believe the fact that they're too codependent on Dybala. I don't want to see a Roma team that feels afraid because of this potential sale, and that's why I can't even look at this match and think, well, Zalewski is the same crappy footballer, because at this point in time, Zalewski is out there playing. First of all, knowing fully well that Roma do not want to continue with him. So I'm just speaking from the point of view of a guy who has 1 year left on his contract with his boyhood club. There's been no attempt to renew his contract. There's been no signal from Roma that, hey, you're important for our future. Everything points to him being the odd man out, and yet he still goes out there and he still plays, So that's him. So he's crap, sure, but I can't fault. Like I have to, pay props in the sense those are the situations that we're dealing with. Okay, we have these guys who are out there playing. We have other guys who are out there on the bench. De Rossi says Dybala was out for technical reasons. Obviously, that's a diplomatic answer that you always give in this situation, but that's something that I want to focus on is if there are players out there who play and you don't like them, say Zeki Salik. I mean, Zeki Salik may be looking at his last minutes as a Roma player because, hey, guess what? If Laurent Assignon comes in and Saud Abdul Hamid comes in, Zeki Salik's minutes go down to zero. So what happens to him? And yet he's still there starting for the team. So those are all difficult situations. Tammy Abraham, what is Tammy Abraham supposed to think? You know, what is he supposed to think? He's getting linked to basically every club on planet Earth, and he's still out there. Supposedly, he should be producing. He's not producing. Dovbik to his place. I mean, what kind of motivation can a guy have? Going onto the pitch in Cagliari. So that's what I'm worried about. The cohesion. Can the team stick together despite this very dark cloud looming over them?
Yeah, and that is the thing I have in the background now. They're replaying De Rossi, what he said to DAZN after the match. Of course, he speaks of Dybala. He was saying that once the 1st of September arrives, I'm going to worry about the most who is here. But I would be worried if there was a Roma that lost Paulo Dybala and didn't bring in a replacement. Again, very diplomatic answer. I did find interesting, and I know you covered his pre-match press conference. The thing he said about answering the situation of Paulo Dybala from a perspective of a manager versus that of a supporter, I found that. That is a level of self-awareness that you typically do not find. Forget in football managers, but in most people, just because I think we live in a society of acutely there's a serious lack of self-awareness. And he more or less said, listen, I have to give this very diplomatic, this uh, politically correct response because I can't respond in the manner in which I want to from a supporter perspective. He goes, I will always be a supporter, okay, but I can't speak to you. I can't do things through that lens when I'm up here, when I am the manager. And I thought that is him saying something without saying something. Yeah, I mean that is his way of trying to say, I really want to say about 50 other things that I'm sure most of you, that every single Romanista is feeling and wanting to say, but I cannot say it.
De Rossi, I mean, De Rossi is one of Paulo Dybala's biggest fans ever. Okay,
Yes.
this is a guy who loves Dybala. Okay, so when he's up there at the presser or right now in front of the cameras, and they're asking him, "Are you afraid that Dybala will leave? Are you afraid of the consequences of it?" De Rossi has to speak like the manager, and the manager side says, "Well, listen, again, we have to. The thing is, we have to bear with it. We have to be prepared for it for any player leaving. The important thing is we have to have a functional replacement."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what many would expect for him to go up there and say, this is a manager. He has to be. I mean, I am sure he feels the exact same way as all of our patrons are saying in that group chat. Okay, if he was not the manager of AS Roma, if he was just in a chat with some of his mates, he would be saying the exact same things. He would say exactly the way they feel. I suppose my fear is with this situation is the timing, as I said in the previous episode, but on top of that too, this is somebody that I have said several times on here that, in my opinion, the gulf in quality between he and the next. Now, could Sula get there? Could Dovbik get there? Sure. We haven't seen them do it though at Roma. Okay, so I can only go on what I have seen and the history of the players of Roma. Like, I do not have a large sample size of the new players of Roma, who we don't know yet how they fit in with the environment under De Rossi. We have to wait and see. With Dybala, whether it was Jose Mourinho, De Rossi, I don't think many would disagree when we say I think there is a significant gulf in quality between he and insert second name who you think is the second best player of
Okay,
Roma, and
but we've been through it. We know that we it's clear, and De Rossi agrees with it. But De Rossi also understands what people should also start to understand is that you can't make yourself dependent on no matter how good a player is. I mean, John, you know it best. You've watched the Cleveland Cavaliers. I know you've not been following them recently because of all the 72 children you've been producing on your off days.
Yeah, someone called me Sean Kemp the other day, and that
Exactly,
I
more or less.
resented that from the
I
sense of
No, you
I
look good,
know
man.
all my children.
You look good. You don't look like Sean Camp with the Cavs. Okay, you look good.
What?
You're not there, man. I'm keeping an eye on you. No, what? What I just no, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying because
No,
you
yeah.
always remark whenever a player is heavy, you always mention Sean Kemp at the Cavs, you know. So I'm just saying. But John, you know it. You're a Cavs fan. I remember we would get into arguments when it was Cavs Warriors the whole those years, and remember what happened to those Cavs that were so LeBron dependent.
Mm.
You guys had J.R. Smith high on the court and Iman Shumpert having three kids with three different women in his time off, you know? And you had Matthew Dellavedova or whatever his name was pretending to be a point guard. Your squad was crap, okay? So, but the thing, and you were dependent. That's the problem. You became dependent on one player. As great as LeBron James is, you became dependent, like a lot of teams around him do. The problem with Roma is they know that Paulo Dybala is their best player. So everybody knows it. But you as a coach, you as De Rossi, you have to face this situation with the awareness that this is a situation you have to and you can resolve, not by perhaps bringing in a player of the same quality because, hey, guess what? This is Roma. We're not even in the Champions League. Nobody of Dybala's quality will come near the club, okay? That's the first thing, okay? But if you find good signings, good functional signings, that's your way to go. That's your way in to be able to at least soften the blow. Soften the blow and have this team play football without having to rely on a guy that, as great as he is, he'll have 6 good games and then he'll injure himself and he'll be out for 2 months. And that's when you got problems. And that's been the story for Roma for the past 2 years.
That has been. And the other thing is, I saw a couple of the patrons mention this during the match. If Paulo Dybala leaves, you have to resign yourself right now that you are going to get somebody of equal quality as a replacement. You're just going to torture yourself. Okay, well, Paulo Dybala, I saw names like maybe we go on and try to get João Felix. It's like, wait, what? No, no, no. I know we're panicking at the idea of him leaving. Nobody likes it, particularly this late into the window. Okay, but just calm. That's the only thing. Let's end it on that. Calm. Okay, we're not going to sell half the team because they did crap today. We're not going to find 3 to 4 new players to add or change from the starting 11. It's not going to happen. It's one match. It's Sardegna. It's just calm down. Take a deep breath. All the big teams this weekend did not appear impressive. It's so early. You have the market, which they have to change this. this has to come to an end, or at least you either start the season later or
No,
you
of
move the
course.
window up.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's because otherwise, you see the patrons. I think tomorrow a lot of them will have to go and have their blood work done. It's that simple, or at least I recommend that. I'm doing it. Tomorrow. I got I got my Euro box just for my pee, and I'm gonna get my pee and my blood work done. So I'm gonna be healthy as healthy as possible for this new Serie A season, because I know Roma, at least in these next 2 weeks, will do everything they can to get those values way up.
If tonight got to you, you are in
You're not,
trouble.
yeah, you're in a world of trouble.
You are in
You're in a world of
trouble for the rest. This is. I don't know. I'm terrible at maths, but this is like 1/25th of the season was just tonight. You 1/20, 1/50th of the season was. If you lost it from tonight, just use the next week to do something.
Yeah, and
Decompress.
take it from two guys that have been covering every single game for this is going to be our 7th season, John, together,
Oh,
and this is the result. Okay, this is what happens. So I'm just saying, if somebody's is out there thinking, well, should I get nervous? Should I start to experience this Roma team more right now? Should I lose my shit? Don't. Keep your
no.
cool. Wait at least 2 more weeks. Okay, then there is the international break. You can take a deep breath, and that's where you can start to let the season flow into you.
Yes. We will leave it there. Perfect advice to end the episode on. We will be back later in the week. Until then, ciao.